Need some coins for that God Squad you've always wanted? Check out rockbottomcoins.com for cheap and fast coins. Use code ZIRK for 30% off your order.
The whole thing wobbin', wobbin', wobbin'. When I come around, got the whole thing wobbin'.
What's going on, guys? It's Zirksee coming at you today with another YouTube video, and today I have a Madden 21 gameplay deep dive for you. Now, there is a forum out currently. There was also a live stream. They talked about a lot of stuff, and of course, I'm going to be going over all that in today's video. Before we go any farther, I do want to give a shout out to the dog for being a part of the Noti gang. If you guys want a chance to be shouted out in the next video, drop a like in the vid, make sure you guys are subbed to the channel, turn the notification bell on, and comment down below, Noti gang guys. The beta is coming out, and make sure you guys have that notification bell turned on so you don't miss any single video I'm going to be going over. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Madden 21 news coming out very soon. Now, before we actually go over anything to do with the Madden 21 gameplay deep dive, I do want to let you guys know the beta was actually supposed to be today. They decided to push it back, and unfortunately, guys, they did inform us we are not allowed to record, you are not allowed to stream, you are not allowed to share anything to do actually like showcasing the actual beta itself anywhere throughout the entire beta. So we don't know the exact date when the beta is going to be now. I guess we'll just kind of have to wait and see when they're going to push it out. But just know, you also cannot, unfortunately, stream or record, which, fat L in my opinion. But I have to say, I'm pretty disappointed with that because now we still have 2 more months of Madden 20 with absolutely nothing. We're just going to be basically waiting for them to keep revealing everything they possibly can of Madden 21. But with that being said, guys, we have a ton to go over when it comes to the actual gameplay deep dive. There is a lot of stuff, and even though I'm upset about the beta, the gameplay stuff actually sounded pretty good. So as you guys can see, run defense. They definitely improved the run defense a lot. Force defenders align on the line of scrimmage at the snap. We use wider angles at the start of the play to show more anticipation and better pursuit prediction to set the edge versus outside running plays. Force defenders will show more anticipation in their pursuit angles at the start of the play when facing quick hitting outside running plays such as jet sweep and touch pass, so that they're good in better position to set the edge. Also want to let you guys know that they say all this stuff, but let's wait for the beta. We'll see how that goes and how it actually fills out. Hammer and fill players, who are defenders in the run fit responsible for the open gap inside of the force player, will take wider initial pursuit angles versus outside running plays that will help them go over the top towards the outside of the formation quicker and prevent them from getting stuck up inside by blockers and other traffic. So they definitely made quite a few changes here. Also, another big thing is defenders have better anticipation of the ball carrier's movement by taking smarter angles after shedding blocks and also while they're shedding blocks. So definitely a lot of run defense stuff, but we'll see if that actually transfers over to the actual game. There also was a bunch of tackling upgrades as well. Defenders will now be much more aware when they are engaged in blocks near a ball carrier, and they will trigger tackle attempts from these engaged blocks inside the trenches and in the open field versus impact blocks. Hit sticks and dive tackles have been tuned to make them more accessible and functionable, all of which come together with our new breakdown tackles for a more intuitive defensive experience. Now, of course, we do also have these location-based tackles, which are kind of a new thing here. These are tackles you'll see when the running back reaches the ball for the pylon at the last second to get that critical touchdown, or where the tackling defender will struggle and strain to keep the ball carrier from reaching the first down sticks on a huge 4th down. Now, these tackling interactions make our players more aware of their field location and react accordingly, including the pylon, goal line, sideline, and first down marker. While there is not a direct button input on the sticks for these tackles, they'll be driven by player ratings and superstar abilities. In addition to the abilities, the defender's tackle and awareness ratings compared to the ball carrier's vision and awareness ratings will drive the outcomes of these interactions dynamically. So this could actually be pretty big. We obviously don't really care about awareness that much when it comes to Madden 20. I mean, you don't ever really talk about that. And something with ball carrier, now it actually will make a little bit of a difference. I'm really curious to see, though, how often will these get triggered? Is it always going to be like if you're heading towards the pylon and you want to dive for the TD and your opponent tries to tackle you at the same time? I wonder if it's always going to trigger that, or if it's not going to be every single time. Now, this is actually something that's really cool, is the zone drop coach adjustment. So basically, this will allow you as the defensive player to customize the depth of your zone drops for underneath zone defenders. These coaching adjustments give you the ability to change the drop depths of flat, hook, and curl flat zones in increments of 5 yards up to 30 yards. So this is really cool, but keep in mind if you do that, all match zone logic will be disabled and all zone coverage players will use the adjustments, including the deep zone players. When facing a no-huddle offense, you can turn off these coaching adjustments by using the reset play option in the pre-play adjustments menu. So if your opponent is constantly running corner routes, let's say, which is a big deal in Madden 20, this gives you a way to literally set your corner to play specifically a 15-yard corner route, a 20-yard corner route. Like, this is going to be big. They actually did a bunch to change stuff when it comes to throwing the ball in Madden 21, which is very nice to see because there was a lot wrong with it this year in Madden 20. Throwing out of sacks. So all quarterbacks have the ability to throw the ball while being tackled. The accuracy and power, though, is dictated largely by physics. The farther into the passing animation the quarterback is at the point of contact, the more likely the pass will be accurate. However, if at any point the quarterback's arm or shoulder are hit during the pass, that too can impact the accuracy. Throwing out of sacks does carry some risk as well. The earlier in the throwing animation the QB is hit in combination with the quarterback's strength rating, the more likely he will be to fumble. So that's pretty cool. Deep passes under pressure. This is something I thought was really cool. Throws of 40 or more yards from the spot of the pass to landing spot. If you try to throw essentially 40 or more yards, it's going to bring up a deep pass under pressure mechanic. So what it's going to be is the animations are dictated by threat to impact prediction, meaning that at the time the pass has been initiated, if the quarterback thinks he will get hit by an oncoming defender before the release of the pass, he'll use an under pressure animation, and then the QB's throw under pressure rating will modify both the power and accuracy of the pass. So you'll try to throw it a little bit quicker, and we'll see how exactly that's going to work out as well. Also, we have quarterback branch outs. QBs can now quickly branch out of the drop back to throw the ball at any time. As soon as the QB has received the snap, if a receiver button input is given, the quarterback will immediately branch out of his existing behavior and throw the ball to the intended receiver, which also includes branching out of play action fakes. QB will also have more control to branch out of the drop back to scramble by moving the stick towards either 45-degree angle away from the line of scrimmage, while also re-enabling the controlled rollout movements. Along with this change, the quick throw inaccurate from Madden 20 has been turned off, so thank you, because that was absolutely terrible. Accuracy and power tuning with a variety of improvements done to passing. We also did some tunings to improve under pressure and cross-body passing accuracy to bring more balance for both by making the inaccurate penalties more contextually appropriate to the situation. They also added a new max distance passing power penalty, which will activate when targeting a receiver who is deeper than the QB's max passing distance. The max passing distance for each quarterback is dictated by his throwing power. This penalty also decreases the strength of the pass when throwing deep passes on the run, with more severe penalties to throw power for crossbody throws. It also seems as though they've added support for a more robust management of user-controlled pass interference, and also for the first time, the illegal contact penalty. So this is going to be interesting to see if they actually do it. The goal with these is preventing users from intentionally obstructing receivers from getting to their routes and /or the catch spot while trying to overlook incidental and unintentional contact. These penalties will be used in both competitive and simulation. So this is obviously a big thing, right? You can just bump a receiver and stop them from getting to the route. This definitely messes with the timing of a lot of things. It looks like you may not be able to do that anymore. And also, the contain blitz was pretty big in Madden 20. In Madden 21, when utilizing pass rush schemes that free up the contained player from being blocked via an overload to either side, the player will now rush the quarterback at a slower speed than if he was not containing a course, as long as the QB is inside the pocket and not using the scramble movement. The contained player moving at the speed slow enough to read the quarterback with the intent to keep in the pocket, but will not break into a full speed rush unless the quarterback starts to scramble. This change will bring balance by giving the defender the ability to quickly react to a scrambling quarterback, but obviously not just coming free. They did also change themselves when it comes to the catching, so players can now dictate the direction they want their character to take them as they secure the catch via the left stick. For example, when holding up on the left stick and using the possession catch, you'll be selecting a possession catch that will fall in the same direction as your stick input, ensuring the receiver won't go to the ground short of the sticks. This increase in control is also critical when throwing underneath routes, as the responsive allows receivers to quickly turn the field using the rack. One obvious case to notice improvement is when a receiver is nearing the sideline, the user will have the control to keep him in bounds as he turns up the field rather than running out of bounds. So that's actually really cool. Now some other stuff here is player personnel packaging. So the pre-play audible system now considers the actual personnel on the field. When changing your personnel in the play call menu, either via packages or formation subs, your pre-play audibles will now match the personnel package on the field. If you're using 12 personnel, so one running back and 2 tight ends, in say gun empty flex, you will now be able to audible to any other formation in your playbook that also uses 12 personnel. So if you want to switch to say a single back formation out of 5 wide, you can do that. Go from 5 wide to single back, and that's going to be kind of tricky for defense, I feel, because that can be pretty tough. They come out in like a DB heavy set expecting you to pass. Boom, you switch, you run the ball. It's going to be really interesting. Now also, balance for repeated audible / play flips in pre-play. So to sum this one up, it's very simple. If you try to flip the play too many times or you do repeated audible, it actually is going to give you a higher chance to go ahead and get a false start after you flip the play or change the play 2 times. After that, if you do it your 3rd time, you have a higher chance to actually get a false start. And another thing is player fatigue for out of position ball carriers. Again, I can pretty much sum this up really quickly here. This risk applies to non-running backs in plays like Wildcat Power, Jet Sweep, Touch Pass, and QB Blast. As they get tired, you'll start to see them become more or less effective on the field regardless of their role thereafter. So if you run a lot with your quarterback, if you're running Wildcat with say Tyreek Hill, then yeah, they're gonna get a lot tired. So stamina is actually gonna be a pretty big factor this year, I guess, for Madden 21. With this change, is a significant reduction to fumbles by scrambling quarterbacks on all game styles, except for all Madden competitive. However, as players start to get more fatigued, the likelihood of fumbling will naturally increase. Now this is actually something they didn't go over in this stream, but the kicking game tuning. Kick meter on competitive game style has been tuned to be more skill-based, meaning it will be more difficult to get accurate kicks, and missing the accuracy window will be slightly more punitive. Kick power and win impact has been tuned on simulation game styles that kickers and punters don't always launch unrealistic deep kicks. They also tuned ball physics to bring more skid to the ball on kicks bouncing on the turf to make the coffin corner kickoff exploits, the scum kick, more difficult to execute. Now also they did change quite a bit when it comes to wide receivers, cornerbacks, and also not just cornerbacks, but coverage defenders in general, and the pass lead ability. So for wide receivers, there were a lot of abilities this year, like streak specialist, stuff like that. Well, now it's gonna be a little bit different. In Madden 21, we have reworked these abilities to grant their bonuses when the receiver catches the ball in specific areas of the field. This allows them to accomplish the initial goal of creating receivers that excel at making plays on specific route types while making them much easier to utilize. So I believe the example that they used when it actually came to the wide receiver was running like some sort of a corner route or something. Like it had to be like towards the sideline in a certain area of the field. They also did the same thing when it comes to the coverage defenders. As you can see, as a solution to this, we have split these abilities up into multiple versions that now grant their bonuses across specific areas of the field, mirroring the new wide receivers' abilities. Now, coverage defenders need to specialize in defending an area of the field rather than being able to cover the whole gridiron. Additionally, universal coverage has been converted into an X-Factor ability, so the idea of a powerhouse play the whole field defender can still exist, you just have to get in the X-Factor. And also pass leading. So they allowed you to make some impressive plays and throw receivers open in Madden 20, but more often than not, they could result in throwing uncatchable passes that were out of reach of your receivers. In Madden 21, they have removed the increased leading distance of these abilities and instead boost the ball's velocity on the pass leading abilities. Guys, that is not going to be it. That is it for today, but in July, they said they're going to be going over a lot to do with abilities. So it looks like they really did change a lot of stuff when it comes to the abilities, and I believe that everything was in this blog that I also wrote down in my notes here because there was a lot of stuff I wanted to make sure I went over, and it seems like that was basically everything. One thing I actually almost forgot to mention to you guys is the new controller layout. As you guys can see, truck is now Y, which is very weird, and right stick up is going to be hurdle, also celebration now. All you have to do is hit left stick, and it's going to be celebration. So you don't have like those modified spins, the modified jukes, whatever, anything anymore. That's going to be based off a rating for how good those jukes and spins actually are. Guys, there is a lot of Madden 21 gameplay news. I hope you did enjoy the video, and if you did, make sure you guys drop a like on the video, and of course hit that sub button down below. Now, although we are not able to actually record gameplay of Madden 21 beta whenever it does drop, hopefully the next couple of days here, I'm sure, can probably go over our feedback on it to you guys. I know we were able to do the same thing last year, so I'll check on that. Hopefully we'll get a response on that, and when the Madden 21 beta comes out, I can at least give you guys my feedback. Won't be able to show you anything, but hopefully you guys are going to be getting a beta code. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you drop a like on the video, and of course hit that sub button down below. I'll see you guys next time.